Shaiiko and the boys lost the grand final again. Falcons, formerly known as BDS, just played their 8th international grand final at the Munich Major against M80, and for the 4th time they walked away with a loss. This gives them a 50% win rate on the biggest stages. Sounds decent at first until you look closer, because they've won the ones that mattered less and lost the grand finals that actually defines a player's legacy. They won 3 tournaments in Saudi Arabia, including the Esports World Cup and the 6 Young Open Major 2022. But on the other hand, they have lost 3 major grand finals and the 6 Invitational 2025 grand final. Let's compare the stats to Pengu, arguably the greatest Siege player ever. He played 9 international grand finals and won 7 of them. That's dominance. But Falcons, on the other hand, keep hitting the final stages but fail to deliver when it matters the most. And this got me thinking, and I wanted to know why this keeps happening to Falcons. So I spent a lot of time watching Falcons play in the grand finals, and I came across some patterns that keep happening in every single one of those matches. I've gathered 9 reasons why Falcons keep losing the grand finals. And as I'm explaining these problems to you, I'm going to show you clips of Falcons playing so you know that these aren't just opinions. The first thing I noticed about Falcons attacking is that they play to plant, not to eliminate. Falcons attacking identity is simple. Just get the diffuser down and everything else is secondary. And the easiest proof to this is B-Day. Just take a look at these stats. Across almost any S-tier tournament that they played, even in the ones that they didn't make it deep into the playoffs, B-Day is consistently among the top planters of the tournament. It's always the same pattern. It shows how Falcons' first instinct in every round is to play off of the diffuser. You know, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but this becomes a massive problem when paired with the next point. Falcons play Siege very slowly, too slow for modern Siege. And this got even worse when Julio joined the coaching staff in 2025. Stuflex and Julio together have created a system that relies heavily on information, clearing the map inch by inch and avoiding direct gunfights. You know, this slow play style works in Europe. Clearly, they have been the kings of Europe for as long as I can remember. But here's the problem. Even Europe as a region isn't as consistent as it used to be. At the Munich Major, Falcons were the only European team to make top 4. Everyone else crashed out early in the playoffs. And when you combine this slow play style of Falcons with their obsession to plant the diffuser, it becomes a disaster. And the next point, which is kind of tied to the first two, which makes Falcons lose grand finals consistently, they leave the fate of every round to the last 10 to 15 seconds. Round after round, tournament after tournament, Falcons leave themselves no time to adapt when something goes wrong. You know, I can show you countless clips of Falcons playing Siege when there is less than a minute on the clock and the match is still 5v5.
It's just out.
30 seconds left on the clock and there's still 10 players alive. Nitro Cell will collect Solitop.
They always gambled that the last 20 seconds would magically go in their way. And this one is maybe the most painful pattern to watch. Falcons lose too many free rounds. So here's an example from the Manchester Major versus Biscos. As you can see, Solitop finds a very good double kill early in the round, giving BDS a 5 vs 3 lead with about 80 seconds left on the clock. But the 5 vs 3 advantage turns into a 4v2 really quickly, but it doesn't really change anything. Because BDS have everything they want. They have the top floor control, they have the time in their favor, they have everything. But they waited too long to do anything past that point. They decided to waste all the time they had left on the clock and wait for the last 10 seconds to push the bomb site and commit to a plant.
Red Hot knocks them back in a 2 vs 1. Users has to send it, cannot find a
This next example is also from the same grand final versus Biscos. As you can see, they have a 5 vs 2 advantage with 1 minute and 42 seconds left on the clock. And in less than a minute, they lost 5 individual 1 vs 1 gunfights and threw away the round.
The second, it's 1-2!
No way.
For Gunner slow to react, but there's an impact!
And this next example is from the Munich Major that Falcons recently lost to M80. And here Falcons take control of the bomb site with about 40 seconds left on the clock, so they don't have any other options but to commit to a plant. They win all of their gunfights and have a 5 vs 2 advantage in the round with 30 seconds left on the clock. And somehow they fell for the oldest trick in the book, Pulse downstairs, stopping the plant. And Night Heaven Labs was the first map of this best of 5 series that Falcons lost 7-8 in overtime match point. So maybe if Falcons would have won this absolutely free round, the momentum of the game would take a shift and now they would be the champions of the Munich Major.
Still hits him! He's like an angel of death from above! They bring it down to a 1v2! All users can do is stick it! And a 4v...
You know, these aren't the moments that they get outplayed by the other team. These are the moments Falcons, or previously BDS, beat themselves. Falcons have a habit of starting strong, then collapsing the moment the other team adjusts. The best example of this is the 6 Invitational 2025 versus FaZe. Even if you look at the first map that they won, they had a 4-0 advantage very early on the game. But the next second you blink and you see that they are playing overtime match point. I mean, like, how the hell did that even happen? Because their entire system is built around slow and structured siege, Falcons completely fall apart when the opponent team takes control. And the moment that they feel like the opposing team is playing too fast, they decide to pick the pace up themselves. But when they force playing fast, they look absolutely ridiculous. This example is also from the recent Munich Major. Even though Falcons are standing on match point on the skyscraper, M80 were looking too confident and they were winning their gunfights for the past few rounds, so Falcons decided to pick the pace up and rush the bomb site. And what you see next is just Falcons players running around, jumping in from the window without having much information and losing their gunfights.
Crazy! They tried to go so aggressive, but it's been chewed apart and spat out by the Emily. Ready and waiting, Kino doing the leak back as he's tried.
They have lots of problems playing versus LATAM and NA teams. And the reason is that both LATAM and NA teams play faster, more aggressive, and more confident siege. Their mid-round fights are explosive. Their entries take space immediately. They don't care about your structure, they break it. And this is exactly why that every single grand final that they lost was either versus a LATAM or a NA team. They just can't keep up with the pace. Most of this video was about how awful they attack, but this point is actually about defense. Falcons' defense is too passive with too much focus on the bomb site. Their defense identity is hold the site, survive, and hope the last round pressure works. Teams like M80, FaZe, East Coast, and W7M love this, because if you aren't fighting for the map control early, they just take it from you. And the last point that I discovered from watching Falcons playing all these grand final matches, their roles are too unstable and unpredictable. I know I don't know more Siege than Julio, but this looks like a problem to me. You know, one round you see Shaiiko enter fragging with demos and the next round he's playing fucking gridlock. I mean, how the hell does that even make sense? The only player on the roster that is consistently doing one thing that he's supposed to do is breathing. It's like there are 4 flex players and only 1 support player on the roster. I personally would like to see certain players stick to their own roles. I don't want to see Shaiiko playing Nomad holding flanks. I mean, that's not just who he is. And anyways, I've dumped all the research, examples, and painful truth I could find. And I would love to see if you guys agree with me on the points I've made in this video or not.
Last does it, the second to last gunner is going to manage to finish it up. And